3 people found dead near a park. One of those victims, a young child.
When that car's riddled with bullets, somebody shot into this car with multiple people inside, a child.
On July 13, 2024, at around 2 p.m., Birmingham's 911 dispatch center received what appeared to be a routine alert. An automated crash notification system pinged near Echo Highlands Park. Responding officers arrived at the scene, expecting to find a fender bender or a driver in need of medical assistance. But instead, they found something that would haunt them for a very long time. Inside the vehicle, they found the lifeless body of a popular hairstylist. She had been shot multiple times. When officers took a closer look, they discovered another lifeless body riddled with gunshots. What was more chilling was the body they found in a child's car seat behind the vehicle. What investigators discovered next, however, would change everything. They hadn't just stumbled onto a car crash. This was an execution carried out at close range. And the motive? A $2,000 debt. This is the life and death of Archia Berry.
It's a bird, it's a plane. Yeah. I'm the richest youngest nigga, ain't nobody fucking with me. Yeah, baby. You look good.
Her life was complete, especially.
Get out, Chloe.
28-year-old Archia Berry, affectionately known as Kia, was born on March 17, 1996. She grew up in the heart of Birmingham, Alabama. From a young age, she exuded a quiet warmth and a deep sense of drive. Raised in a well-bonded family that valued hard work and community, Archia navigated life with purpose. After graduating from Huffman High School, her next step took her to Lawson State Community College, where she trained in cosmetology, a path that would become more than a career. It became her calling. But what made her truly stand out wasn't just skill. It was the joy she brought into every space she entered. From the moment she picked up a styling comb, Archia had a rare touch. She was naturally talented, sure, but it was her creativity and precision that made her work shine. Her social media pages became a canvas where she showcased intricate braids, smooth sew-ins, and eye-catching color transformations. Her clients weren't just customers, they became a part of a loyal and growing circle who trusted her not just with their hair, but with their stories. She opened a modest salon suite on Birmingham's East Side, a place that pulsed with soft music, laughter, and the hum of hair dryers. Each post she made was a testament to her evolution, not only as a stylist, but as a young woman building something on her own. But behind the scenes, her family life was what grounded her. Archia's life was rooted in love. Her long-term partner, Eric Ashley Jr., had been with her through the ups and downs of young adulthood. Their relationship was marked by consistency, mutual respect, and shared responsibilities. Together, they raised 5-year-old Landon, a boy full of imagination and energy. She was raising Landon as a single mother, having endured a tragedy of her own just 4 years earlier. In 2020, Landon's father, 27-year-old Ladarius Jamil Brooks, was found shot to death inside a burning apartment in Birmingham. From that moment on, Archia carried the weight of parenthood alone, determined to give her son the life his father never had the chance to provide. But what stood out most was the unbreakable bond between mother and child. Landon and Archia were inseparable. Wherever Kia went, Landon was never far behind, often tugging along his toy trucks or clutching a dinosaur figurine in each hand. Little wonder he was caught in the tragic crossfire. And Archia? She adored him. Everything he wanted, he had. Everything he needed, she made sure was never out of reach. Their life wasn't extravagant. They didn't flaunt, didn't overshare, didn't chase trends. They simply lived. Archia balanced her work and parenting with grace, often squeezing in early morning appointments so she could spend afternoons at the park with her son. But then, everything they had built would be shattered. On July 13, 2024, just after 2 p.m., Birmingham's 911 dispatch center was triggered by an emergency signal from a car's onboard crash detection system. The vehicle had come to a sudden and violent stop near Echo Highlands Park, a quiet stretch of road often frequented by joggers and families out for a weekend stroll. It was an unassuming area tucked between residential streets and wooded lots, not a place known for violent crime. The alert had come from the 1700 block of Indian Summer Drive, just off Winewood Road, a spot adjacent to the park's main entrance. Officer Truman Fitzgerald later confirmed that the initial 911 call described a crash. Responding officers arrived expecting to find a fender bender or a driver in need of medical assistance. What they found instead would haunt them. The Nissan Maxima hadn't simply slid off the road. It had collided head-on with a large tree, and not because of slick roads or driver error. The driver's side window was shattered inward, its frame punctured by what looked unmistakably like bullet holes. Glass littered the asphalt, but once they opened the doors, the horror became clear. Blood stained the seats and center console, and the air inside the cabin was heavy with the unmistakable smell of gunfire residue. What the officers found was beyond heartbreaking. Officers didn't find injured passengers, they found victims. Inside the car, Archia was in the passenger seat, her head resting unnaturally against the window, already gone. Her body, like the others in the car, bore the brutal signs of violence. Beside her was another body. Eric, slumped over the steering wheel, had taken the brunt of the attack. His body, riddled with bullet holes, was still in the position he must have been in when the first shots rang out. And then there was Landon. The young boy who had been so full of life that morning was still strapped into his booster seat in the back. But now his little body was motionless, lifeless. The scene was chaos layered with heartbreak.
3 people found dead near a park. One of those victims, a young child.
When that car's riddled with bullets, somebody shot into this car with multiple people inside, a child.
The boy as young as 7 or 8 years old in the car with who police believe to be his parents. This scene unfolding near Echo Highlands Park in Birmingham. It's just a few blocks away from Pinson Valley Parkway in the northeast portion of the city.
It was just before 6 p.m. tonight when police responded to the 1700 block of Indian Summer Drive. The original 911 call was made for a report of a crash, but when officers arrived, that's when they found a man, a woman, and a child all to death. And there's a park here not too far back behind me. That is where officers believe the incident started. Police say a majority of the shots were fired from the parking lot of Echo Highlands Park. After the victims drove a short distance, they crashed. Police also say some sort of interaction took place between the people inside of the victim's vehicle and the suspect's vehicle, but detectives are still trying to find out what led up to the shooting.
Outside the vehicle, the ground was littered with over 24 shell casings, evidence of the relentless barrage of gunfire. The officers could see the precision in the way the casings had fallen, their pattern deliberate, controlled. There was nothing random about it. This wasn't an impulsive act. The grouping was tight, indicating that the shooter had fired from close range. The forensics would later confirm that every round fired had been aimed with practiced accuracy. Whoever had pulled the trigger wasn't someone firing wildly. They knew how to shoot. And the question was, who would want to do this and why? Detectives with Birmingham's PD homicide unit immediately took over. They canvassed the area for witnesses, checked nearby security cameras, and began the forensic sweep.
We've deployed all of our detectives in the Birmingham Police Department to focus on these 2 particular cases to bring justice. And for those who are responsible for those heinous crimes, I want you to know that we will be coming for you with full force. With every piece of law enforcement that we have, we will be coming for you.
Traffic camera footage captured a green Kia Soul flee in the area moments after the gunfire, though it was too blurry for a license plate. Back at headquarters, the forensic team processed the shell casings, all 9mm rounds. Uniform rifling patterns, possibly fired from a Glock, common but deadly. The trajectory of the shots told a story. The shooter had fired through the driver's side, continuing until all three inside were hit. But digital forensics told an even darker story. Archia's phone contained a final outgoing text sent just minutes before the shooting. It read, "Jaco." That one word became the spark investigators needed. Cross-referencing nicknames in their criminal database, detectives found a match. 25-year-old Jacorian Deshaun McGregor, a known associate in low-level narcotics activity. No direct connection to Archia, but enough of a thread to start pulling. Data extraction from Archia's phone added more clarity. Investigators performed a full digital extraction of Archia's phone using Cellbrite software. In addition to the text naming Jaco, a set of deleted messages surfaced. They originated from an unknown number, one no longer saved in her contacts. 2 days before the shooting, she'd exchanged texts with that number. The conversation cryptic but tense. Phrases like, "We need to settle this," and "let's just resolve it," hinted at an unresolved conflict, one urgent enough to demand a meeting. The final message, timestamped roughly 48 hours before the shooting, read, "We can talk, face to face." At first glance, it seemed like the kind of exchange that happens when someone's trying to de-escalate drama. But something about the tone, and the fact that the thread had been deliberately deleted, suggested fear, not closure. And when authorities traced the number, the investigation took a darker turn. That number was previously linked to Jacorian before he changed SIM cards. Then came the discovery of the burned-out green Kia Soul. It was found abandoned on the outskirts of the city. Its VIN was scratched out, but one hidden chassis stamp remained. It had been reported stolen just 2 days before the shooting. Cell tower data told its own story. Jacorian's phone pinged near Echo Highlands Park minutes before the murders, then went dark. Hours later, it lit up again across town, close to where the burned car was found. But phone records didn't just place him at the scene, they hinted at something bigger. Eric's phone, when analyzed, showed several calls and messages exchanged with the same number, centered around financial terms like drop and settling. Investigators took note of the language. It read like a narcotics exchange. Despite neither victim having an active criminal record, detectives ordered a financial review. 2 days before the shooting, Eric withdrew $2,000 in cash. The money vanished. No trace, no deposits. But phone activity with the Jacorian-linked number spiked that same day. As detectives pieced together the timeline, a new suspect emerged. The onboard diagnostics from the recovered Kia Soul provided partial GPS coordinates. The car was placed within Echo Highlands Park between 1:50 p.m. and 2:15 p.m. on July 13. That aligned perfectly with eyewitness timelines and camera footage showing the Kia fleeing the area. Burn pattern analysis showed accelerant use, likely gasoline. The undercarriage of the vehicle was less exposed to flame, which allowed a damaged SIM card fragment to survive. Its IMSI number matched the burner phone used by Jacorian that day. But then, a single clue brought the case into sharp focus. Tower pings tracked Jacorian's burner moving in tandem with the Kia from the scene to the outskirts of Birmingham. At 1:48 p.m., his main phone powered off. When it turned back on after 4:30 p.m., it was miles away from both the park and the car. The digital trail, car data, and forensic residue all pointed in one direction. On July 20, just 1 week after the murders, Birmingham PD moved in and arrested Jacorian McGregor without incident at an apartment complex on the city's west side. He refused to give any confession, but claimed he was with a friend across town during the crime, but that alibi collapsed fast. His friend's phone was indeed located at the apartment, but Jacorian's primary phone was not. That 2-hour blackout aligned perfectly with the time of the murders, and right at that moment, another thread snapped into place. Meanwhile, a third-party witness unconnected to either the victims or Jacorian told police he'd seen someone matching Jacorian's description walking near the burned vehicle site around 3 p.m. While no surveillance footage confirmed it, the sighting supported the timeline. And the SIM card from the torched car? It didn't just survive. It matched Jacorian's burner, tying him directly to the vehicle. Despite the mounting evidence, there was still no murder weapon, no DNA, no video of Jacorian firing the gun, and justice would not come easily, and the battle was far from over. At the preliminary hearing, the Jefferson County Grand Jury convened to determine whether the evidence against Jacorian McGregor was sufficient for indictment. The stakes were high. Without a confession or murder weapon, the prosecution had to rely on the strength of the digital footprints, financial patterns, forensic analysis, and motive. Still, what they had was compelling. The assistant district attorney began by walking jurors through the ballistic evidence. 27 9mm shell casings were recovered at the scene, all consistent with a Glock-type firearm. Though the gun hadn't been found, the pattern was tight and professional. This wasn't a drive-by. It was an execution. Next came the digital trail. Jacorian's primary phone pinged near Echo Highlands Park minutes before the murders, then powered off. A secondary burner device tied to him through prior calls and linked contacts lit up in the same location and followed the exact path taken by the stolen green Kia Soul. That burner went dark just after 2:30 p.m., only to resurface in the same corridor where the torched car was later discovered. And under the melted driver's seat of that vehicle, a charred SIM card, partially burned but intact enough to show an IMSI number matching the burner. The prosecution also walked the jury through Eric Ashley Jr.'s financial records, repeated withdrawals between $200 and $400 over several weeks, and then a sudden $2,000 withdrawal 2 days before the murders. Eric's messages all revealed rising tension. "You're running out of time," read one message. A confidential informant had come forward weeks earlier. He told police that Jacorian owed Eric money, a debt related to a failed deal. When pressured to repay it, Jacorian allegedly lashed out, saying he'll get his answer soon. But then, a single clue brought the motive into sharp focus. The location, known as The Lot, referenced in both Archia's and Eric's deleted messages, was found to be a dormant gas station on the city's edge. It had once been a known drop point in narcotics cases. 10 days before the murders, a green Kia Soul, the same make and model later burned, was captured by surveillance parked there. No faces, but the timestamp aligned with messages between Eric and Jacorian's old number. This wasn't the first meeting. The grand jury reviewed testimony from friends and family. Eric's sister had overheard an argument over the phone. A co-worker of Archia's recalled her saying she needed to go with Eric to a meeting that couldn't wait. And then, the heartbreaking consequence. All three, including 5-year-old Landon, executed. The jury deliberated for just over 4 hours. They returned an indictment on 3 counts of capital murder. Jacorian McGregor was ordered held without bond. His attorney entered no plea. A trial date will be set, but the city's trauma wasn't waiting for the courtroom. News of the killings had spread quickly. Vigils were held at the park. Blue and white balloons filled the sky. Neighbors placed teddy bears and candles at the crash site. Archia's co-workers described her as peaceful, focused, and completely uninvolved in Eric's personal drama. Her only role was that of a witness, a mother caught in the middle. Landon's school held a balloon release. His classmates, many too young to grasp what had happened, each held a drawing or card. His teacher, in tears, described him as bright, curious, and kind.
Gathering for a vigil tonight after a 5-year-old little boy was among 3 people shot and killed in Echo Highlands Park over the weekend.
When I say stop, you say violence. Stop the violence. Stop the violence.
5-year-old Landon Brooks, his mom, 29-year-old Archia Berry, and Eric Ashley Jr. were sitting in a car on Indian Summer Drive when someone opened fire on them. At a vigil tonight in Wahoma Park, where Landon played youth football, his coaches were understandably emotional.
So we most definitely need answers. You know, you didn't only take him, you took his mama. You know, like I said, me and Coach, we have him every day. Every day. Every day he asks us how he doing, and deep down inside we know he ain't doing good. Because once again, I told you, he already didn't have his dad. You know, so like a lot of kids come out here, this they comfort zone. This they time to like express themselves. You know, some kids don't know how to express themselves to their parents. And we have to step up and be there for them. We have to answer questions that they don't know how to answer.
The funeral was held the same week. It took place at New Bethlehem Baptist Church, packed wall to wall. Family, friends, colleagues, teachers, students, and well-wishers all attended. The ceremony wasn't just about closure, it was a reckoning, a reminder. This was not random, not gang-related, not mistaken identity. It was a personal conflict that exploded into tragedy. In the wake of such an unimaginable tragedy, words often fall short. But let this message serve as a tribute to the lives of Archia, Eric, and little Landon, lives that radiated love, laughter, and hope. To their families, friends, and everyone whose heart has been touched by their story, may you find strength in one another, healing in time, and peace in knowing that their light lives on. We grieve with you, and we remember them always. What do you think about this? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.